Welcome back to Brooks and Dumb, episode
2.
Dose.
Well, yeah, 2. Because we both speak English and nothing else.
E. That's Mandarin for 2.
And Spanish for and.
Oh, yes, it is.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, so this episode, we are in a closet, so the audio is going to be a little bit better. I'm also talking louder because I know that was an issue in the last episode.
Yeah, he's a whisper man.
I'm a whisper man. But we're in a closet, I'm talking louder, it's going to be better this time.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
So we're going to talk about work stories because we're both 21 and 20, so obviously we have a lot of work experience.
I have had so many jobs. I've never had a job for longer than 9 months.
So you're a bad employee.
Yes. And I've had so many jobs.
Yes, I know, which is bizarre because I can't picture you having a job aside from working at the prison.
Yeah, so what no one knows except for most
people
everyone that are
yeah, that's listen. Yeah.
That we both worked at a prison.
Yes, we did. A maximum security prison.
Yes, in Texas. So you
yeah.
can imagine how that was.
Great.
That's where we met. We met in our pre-service academy.
Yeah.
Which is fucking wild.
It was pretty cool, actually. I really liked it, honestly. We just went to a classroom. Yeah, we just went to a classroom all day. We got paid the same as a guard.
Oh my god, we got paid to sit.
That's all. I didn't even pay attention.
Listen. Oh, I never paid attention.
I spaced out at the back of the class and just chilled out.
I would fucking look at Bandy and
you'd
sometimes say
things. So we'll talk about how we met before we get into work stories. We were, like we said, both in the pre-service. Mm-hmm. So the first time I saw Brooke, we were doing our physical test, and I was looking around, and her ass was out of this world. So I was looking at her a lot, and eventually, as pre-service went on, we talked to each other because
everyone was making fun of my arm hair. Grown-ass men.
Yeah. Making
fun of this poor girl's arm hair, and I was a teenager at the time of pre-service because I was still 19.
Yeah, 19.
But I was an old teenager.
Yeah,
but
whatever.
Grown-ass, 30-year-old men were
20s.
telling me that my arms were hairy.
Yeah.
And so you went up to me and you were like, I have hairy nipples.
Yeah, because I didn't want her to feel bad.
Yeah, and I was like, who the fuck is this guy? So...
yeah, that's how we met.
Yeah, and then we started, talking more and hanging out a lot.
Yeah, I got your Snapchat.
We became,
BFFs,
best friends.
Definitely. And I definitely never had the nerve to make a move. Ever. I was terrified.
That's fine, though.
But I wanted to.
But now we're together, so it doesn't even
so it's fine.
matter.
Yeah, it doesn't even matter.
Yeah, but we worked at a prison. Pretty fucking crazy. We both worked in different departments. I worked in the psychiatric building.
And I worked in the gang area. So...
And I worked in... So he worked in ECB, which is the extended cell block, where, the guys that are gang members or have a lot of staff assaults go. And I worked there one day, and
yeah, she was filling in for someone.
Yeah, it was fucking awful.
Yeah, it sucks.
So you just can't, get anyone to shut the fuck up. Because we worked the night shift, so it was 5 p.m. to 5 a.m. Mm. And at, 1 a.m., I want my fucking relax time.
Yeah, so everybody needs to go to sleep. Yeah. But they don't fucking sleep.
No, especially, so there's this one pod, Charlie Pod, that it was 2 people in one cell. So there were a lot of people in there.
Yeah, upwards of 100.
Yeah, and they would all shout so much. Whenever I went in there, they all started, popping their slots open. So, in administrative segregation where they're not allowed to be out of their cell...
Which is most of ECB.
Yeah, and all of 12 building. They have food slots, and so you have to, open them with this bean tool that only the officers have access to. But in ECB, they all know how to open these slots on their own.
Yeah.
And so whenever I walked onto Charlie, one of them at the front was like, yo, there's a female!
Yeah.
And so they all started popping their slots open and sticking their tiny little mirrors out of them.
So they could look in the mirror and look at her coming onto the pod.
Yeah, and whenever I would, like, talk to them, like, whenever I was doing security checks, they would
Which is a check we would do every 30 minutes just to make sure everybody's alive.
Yeah. And so they would stick their mirrors, like, between my legs or, like, under me, and they'd be like, God damn!
Yeah, they would be fucking with her, checking her out.
Oh my god. And thankfully I was only on that pod for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Because this other guy was like, well, on Foxtrot, they all want to fucking kill me, so you're gonna have to go over there.
Right.
And I was like, alright.
Yeah.
But that's some of the crazy stuff that would happen in ECB. And then Foxtrot, there's this one guy whose cell is, like, not next to the other cells, and he has, like, triple glass.
And he has warnings on his door.
He has, like, 50 million staff assault stickers.
Yeah.
And his cell is pitch black.
Yeah, because the glass is so thick.
Yeah. And it says, like, it has a sign on the door that says, do not come near the cell without a supervisor. But the guy talks so quietly.
You have to get close.
So you have to get close, but he was always the nicest person ever.
Yeah, he was really nice. I worked on that pod a couple times, and he was really nice to me.
Yeah, he would, like, whisper, and so I would, like, get close to the door and be like, what did you say? He'd be like, hey, how's it going? You doing all right? I'm like,
yeah.
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 Doing great.
Okay, so we've laid the groundworks for the prison stories, so you go ahead with your prison stories, because she worked there a lot longer than I did, because I worked in a shit department, and I hated it, and I quit almost immediately. I worked there for, like, 4 months, and you worked there for 8 months?
Yeah, 8 months.
8 months, yeah. So you go ahead and tell your crazy prison stories, and then I'll go on my work stories.
So, 12 building is a very interesting place because the building was split into 2 different sections. You had CMI, which is for people that had a lot of mental issues, and so they were in different areas. And then you had the PAMIO pods, which was, like, for programs to, like, reintegrate people from ECB back into general population.
Right.
So, the CMI pods were fucking insane. Especially Echo Pod, which was the last pod, and you could just characterize the CMI pods by the farther down the hall you got, the worse it smelled.
Yeah, most definitely.
And so Echo smelled so bad. The first time I had ever actually walked into Echo Pod, there was a mattress sitting out with a puddle of urine on it and around it.
Yeah.
And they were cleaning out one cell because this guy decided to play tic-tac-toe with his shit.
If you don't have a marker or a crayon, you gotta use what you got.
I looked in, and it was disgusting.
Yeah, there was a lot of shit being thrown around in 12 building.
And so most of the pods, they had, like, grates on their windows. Instead of, like, so most people, whenever they think of, like, a prison, they think of bars on the windows.
Yeah, that's not how it is
but they're, like, grates. But in Echo Pod, because they're the most extreme CMI, they have plexiglass on their windows. And so, took a lot of liberties on that pod, because some of them would just start, like, cussing me out and, like, spitting at me for, like, I wouldn't even do anything, and they would start doing that.
Well, the people that were in Echo Pod were legitimately Looney Tunes.
Yeah. And so, whenever they would start, like, spitting at me, obviously, I'd get way close to their cell, and I'd be like, what are you gonna do, huh? What are you gonna fucking do?
Yeah.
And they would, like, start screaming at me, like, spitting on the door, be like, oh, just wait until you feed. And I'm like, well,
whatever.
I'm the one that has to open your slot,
Yeah.
so obviously I'm not gonna do that. You're trying to spit on me.
Yeah, if you're gonna assault me, you don't get it open.
Yeah.
Which is pretty much how it is.
Yeah, because I've been, while I worked there, for the 8 months I worked there, I got assaulted 4 times.
Yeah.
a couple times I didn't report it because I was like, whatever.
Yeah, if they just throw water on you, it's just like, oh, that's shitty. But nothing really comes of it.
The first time I got assaulted, it was because I called this guy a cunt. Because he was saying some pretty racist stuff.
But, I mean, while that is a valiant thing, it's not technically right to do.
Yeah, He was pretty...
He was saying some racist things about an inmate that was working with Brooke.
Yeah, he was saying that he raped him because that's how black people are, but he was saying it in different words.
Right.
And so I was like, hey man, you're a fucking cunt. And so he threw toilet water mixed with some of his urine on me. Yeah. Found out he had AIDS as well.
Which is interesting, but turns out you cannot contract AIDS from urine.
Yeah, so that was the first time I ever got assaulted. And then I've had some more stuff thrown on me. I've had a lot of toilet water thrown on me.
But, toilet water's pretty clean. So.
Yeah, that's fine. I've had an entire tray of pancakes thrown on me.
Oh, those pancakes are... disgusting.
Yeah. This guy grabbed my ass and wanted to fucking murder him.
Yeah. Yeah, me too.
But, also, so, whenever an officer gets assaulted, they suit up a team of 5 people to go in and basically you line up at the door of that cell and the lieutenant and the sergeant will be there and the lieutenant will tell them they need to comply. And if they don't, they'll get gassed. So basically getting gassed, there's 2 types of gas you can use. There's OC, which is essentially pepper spray.
Yeah, and then there's strong pepper spray.
Yeah, and then there's CS, which is tear gas. And it's bad.
Unbearable.
So for the academy, sidetrack.
Yeah.
For the academy, we actually had to get both done to us.
Yeah, you have to get pepper sprayed and be in tear gas to be able to use them.
And the tear gas was so... awful.
Brooke threw up a lot.
Yeah, because, so, whenever we were walking through, we were in 2 lines, and I was in the second line, and I was on the very end. And whenever they started gassing us, I made a mental note. I was like, okay, they were telling us that as soon as the gas hits us, liquid is just gonna flow from us.
Yeah, your nose is gonna be running like Usain Bolt. You can't stop it.
So I was like, I don't want my nose to run. Yeah. I don't want to look disgusting.
Right.
So I was like, I'm gonna fucking power through.
Mm-hmm. And just sniffle the whole way.
As soon as I feel my nose start, dribbling a little bit, I'm gonna just...
suck in through my nose, right.
Breathe it all in. And so that's what I did. And as soon as I did it, I started throwing up.
Yeah.
I, spread my legs. And while I'm walking, I'm, throwing up between my legs. Yeah. And the whole time, I was focused on so many other things. Because there were other people that were throwing up. But it was flying through the air. Because
it was a very windy day. Yeah, so it was flying backwards and hitting people in the face.
So I'm, dodging other people's vomit
and snot. It was disgusting.
And we get done, and I learned that I made the right decision because there was this one girl who had someone else's snot slicking back her hair.
Yeah.
And this one guy was covered in vomit.
Oh, there was a lot of people that looked rough.
But CS is bad. OC is tolerable. Bad, but not as bad. Yeah. But to gas the inmates that are acting a fool,
yeah, right.
They use the red can, which is
OC.
Extremely concentrated OC.
Yeah, pepper spray.
So
very strong pepper spray.
It's strong. Mm-hmm. And so they'll basically, if the person doesn't comply, they'll gas them. They'll spray that right into their cell. And it's pretty bad.
But some of them have built up a tolerance. They've been gassed so many times, so they don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
They really do. I mean, it doesn't even affect them. It's insane. I can't even imagine being at that level.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking crazy.
But if that doesn't work, they...
So, if the person's still not complying, you gas them again, and I think you can gas them twice.
Yeah, twice.
And then... if they still don't comply, the team basically roll the door, and all 5 people run in the cell and just try to get the guy...
You basically try to detain him. Because you have leg restraints, hand restraints, and someone...
So one man has the shield.
Which
and they
is
go
the
in
first
first.
person that enters. It's
Yeah,
numerical.
and they try to fucking annihilate the guy as soon as they walk in.
Slam him down with the shield to immobilize him.
Yeah, and so actually, I was like, whenever we would hear about the team in the academy, I was like, that's fucking sick. Because I'm like a tomboy and stuff, and I'm like, I want to fuck people up.
Right, yeah.
So I was joking around with my lieutenant, like, you should put me on the team. And he was like, okay. And the next day, he was like, were you serious? I was like, hell yeah. And so he was like, okay, you're on the team.
Yeah.
So they put me as 5-man. I got to suit up 3 or 4 times. One time we were going to run in. I never got to run in while I worked there, which is really sad.
No,
yeah.
Very appreciative of that.
For him, yeah. But we were going to run in. We decided we were going to run in because this guy had already thrown shit on one of our really good friends, Bandy, before.
Legitimate shit.
Yeah, and he just threw shit on another officer.
Again, legitimate shit.
He threw shit on an officer from morning shift. So
all real shit.
He's throwing shit on so many people. So we were like, nah, fuck this guy. So we get up to his cell, right? And we're all like, okay, we're going to run in. And then Burgess, who's 1-man, looks in. And he looks at all of us. And he, like, starts whispering stuff. And down the line, it gets to me. And they're like, hey, no, we're not running in. Because this guy has a film of feces on everything. And he had at least 5 full containers on his little desk. Filled to the brim with his shit. And so we were like,
he's frugal.
No, we don't want to run in.
No.
And so we did gas him, and whenever we pulled him out, I felt each drop of sweat hitting my hand. And the whole time we were holding this guy, he was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, that's what it's like.
Making disgusting noises, just sweating.
Because you can't breathe with the gas.
Yeah, we were like, hopefully you fucking learn your lesson, dude. Stop throwing shit on people.
Yeah, for real.
That's disgusting. He was an echo, too, because they all, like, a bunch of them were like, they didn't even care. This one guy ate a turd one time.
Yeah. I mean, when you're that mentally messed up, I mean, I feel like the lines blur and it doesn't really matter at that point. You know, they're like, oh, fuck it, it's just shit.
Yeah,
I want to fuck this guy over.
It's pretty fucking crazy. Thank God I never had shit thrown on.
I know, I agree. That would have been terrible. So on a lighter note, I'm going to tell some stories about when I worked at a children's bounce house place.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So I worked at this place. We would dress up as popular children's characters like Spider-Man and Olaf from Frozen.
Or the one that you look the most like.
Spider-Man.
Elsa.
Yeah, okay. So we would do birthday parties, we would dress up, and we would dance every half hour. We would do the whip and nae, the chicken dance, and limbo. And honestly, it was a lot of fun, and I loved that job. It was probably my favorite job I've ever had. It was a lot of fun. But one time, this was for like a 2-year-old girl's birthday party, so she didn't even know what the fuck was going on. So I really didn't need to do this, but the parents came up to me. There wasn't any females working. And they were like, hey, we really need Elsa at this birthday party because it was Frozen themed. And I was like, okay, I'll see what I can do. But I knew we didn't have any females working. So I went to the break room. I put on the Elsa dress. And I put on the white Elsa wig. And I walked out. And they thought it was hilarious. And so for an hour and a half while this birthday party was going on, I ran around as Elsa. And everybody thought I was a great Elsa.
I bet you're amazing.
I am. I'm the best Elsa they've ever had. But my most popular costume was Spider-Man. But I feel like that was because kids love beating the shit out of Spider-Man. Every time I would put the Spider-Man costume on, I would have people run up and hit me in the crotch.
Of course.
At every 5 or 10 minutes.
I love hitting Spider-Man in the crotch.
Apparently, every kid on the planet does too.
Dude,
because
if
it
I
was the
see
only
a
constant in my
superhero,
life.
all I want to do is just punch him in the dick. I want to
Well,
hurt
it
them.
hurts superheroes too. I can attest to that personally. But I ended up losing that job because the owner of said bouncy house place tried to get a manager to suck him off for a TV. And so all the employees that were working that day had a walkout, including me. We closed around noon when we would normally close around 8 p.m. And then the business closed down because it doesn't have any workers there. Yeah, no, it was a great place, but the owner was just having some problems.
Awful.
Yeah, he was not good.
He was a horrible person.
No, yeah. He definitely tried to take advantage.
Oh, yeah.
Which is terrible, and that's why we walked out. So, I'm morally correct.
Oh, one really crazy job I've had. So I worked at Wembley Stadium.
Yeah.
In London.
That is crazy.
So actually they just they're getting bought by the Jacksonville Jaguars, which is pretty fucking crazy.
Pretty fucking dumb.
Yeah, but I fucking hate the Jaguars.
No, I do hate the Jaguars.
Me too. But, so they have a lot of football games.
But not football. Or football. American football.
Soccer games.
Nah, the greatest sport ever played. American football.
They have soccer games.
Yeah.
Soccer matches. What the fuck ever.
Right, yeah. Soccer matches.
But I worked there for a bit. I got different jobs.
How long did you work there?
I don't know. A couple months.
Yeah.
But it was like odd jobs because I signed up for certain jobs on an app.
Okay.
But, so I only worked at a little restaurant area once, and then every other time I worked at a bar, which is pretty fucking sick.
That was cool. I mean, you were young when you worked at a bar.
Yeah, I was 18.
But it was in London, so the legal drinking age over there is
18. So
18, so it wasn't
it's
that
whatever.
far-fetched, yeah.
But yeah, I felt pretty fucking weird carding people that were 25.
Right.
Acting like they're an 18-year-old. Especially since British people all look like fucking babies when they're not 18. If they're 17 years old, they look like they're 6. Whenever they turn 18, suddenly they look like they're 17.
Well, hopefully I look older than British people, because I feel like
definitely
I have a
do,
baby
because
face.
this one guy came up and he was 16, and I thought he was 12.
Whoa.
But
are they shorter over there, would you say, than Americans?
Some. I don't know.
Would you say most, though?
I don't know. The one British person that I knew that was a real British guy was short as fuck.
Well, there you go. Americans are better than the Brits.
But anyway, whenever I worked at the bar, we hosted Manchester United one time. And I can't understand a fucking word any of them say. They only talk in slang, which already is a bust for me.
Oh, yeah.
And so they come up to me, fucking saying slang, fucking speaking in their dumbass accents.
British slang is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's awful.
Yeah.
So this one guy comes up to me, he's like, "Hey, you have any biz?" I say, "Biz?" And he's like, "Yeah, biz." Right. I say, "Biz, you're saying biz." And he's like, "Yeah, biz. Do you have any?" And I'm like, No. What the fuck I'm sorry, we don't.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
Keep in mind, I was working at a bar. And this fucking idiot is like, "You don't have any biz?" And I'm like, "No, we don't."
And I'd like to envision that there were beer bottles clearly displayed behind you.
There were.
And this guy's like, "Oh, you don't have any?" Well, that's
yeah,
strange.
And he was like, "Do you know when I can get a biz?" And I was like, "Yeah, try down there." And I just pointed a direction, and he fucking walked off confused. And I had it happen again where people were like, "Can I get some biz, please?" But when do you go to a bar and say, "Can I get some beers?"
Yeah, wouldn't you say a brand?
You would say the kind.
Right, yeah.
And so I had more people going up to me and being like, "Can I get some biz? I need some biz." And they were all just screaming biz at me. Like B-I-Z.
Yeah.
And I was clarifying and they were all agreeing. And then at one point I had so many people around me, even my managers, start screaming, "Beer! They're saying beer!"
Yeah, and you were like, "Oh,
I was like,
shit."
"Oh!" And I went, "I'm American. I'm so sorry." And they all laughed.
Yeah,
so
I'm sure. Yeah.
They were all cool.
That's
but
good.
I had a lot, British people get fucking rude whenever they're at their fucking games. Not all of them Arsenal fans. Super nice. Tottenham Hotspurs.
Well,
nice.
They're not rude. They get rowdy.
yeah, rowdy.
Yeah, that's
like,
what they say.
they're not actually rowdy.
Yeah,
but,
right.
During halftime one time, they were all getting so, like, fucking awful. They also just start beating on, like, the counter and singing.
Yeah.
And they were trying to throw their money at us.
Oh,
like, help me, help me.
Good time.
And all of our tills were going down.
What is a till?
It's like the cash register.
Oh, okay.
It's called a till.
Sure.
So all of our fucking tills were going down. Mine didn't. So I had other people checking people out on my till because theirs didn't work. And so this one guy, the guy that was at the front of my line, is fucking throwing coins at me because this other girl is using my till to help one of her customers. And he's like, take my money, I need you to take my fucking order.
Oh,
and I'm like,
I thought they were supposed to be polite.
I've had fucking enough because of this guy. And so I was like, nah, these fucking Brits need to fucking keep in line.
You can put your big American dick down.
Yeah, I put my fucking American hand out.
Right.
Fucking look this fucking bitch right in the eyes. And I was like, sir, you need to keep it down. I'm going to get to you, but right now I'm helping someone else. And he fucking took his coins, put them back in his pocket, and he went, sorry.
Oh,
and then everyone in my line was polite to me, while everyone else's lines were fucking screaming at them, because I whipped my fucking 14-inch American dick out, laid it on the fucking counter, and said, bitch, you listen to me.
And they did.
They fucking did.
Because it was 14 inches of American beef.
Exactly. 14 inches of American Kobe beef.
No, that's Japanese.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, you biffed it.
Damn it.
Real Kobe beef comes from Japan.
I wanted, like, really nice beef.
Japanese beef. And they definitely don't have 14 inches, so we'll just end it there. So, another job that I had was I worked at Popeyes, which is a definitely shitty job. I had burn marks from the grease splashing up on me from frying chicken all the way up my arms.
Jesus Christ.
Were
you a cook?
I was a cook, yeah. I cooked the fucking shit out of some chicken, man. God, I cooked so much chicken in my life. And I only worked there for like 5 months, 6 months. But one of the perks of that job is I would take, like, you know, I don't know, 3 or 4 drumsticks into the freezer and just wolf it down. And then walk out with 4 bones in my hands and throw it away, and no one would say anything. And it was amazing. I would eat so much chicken.
I used to, whenever I was a waitress at Buffalo Wild Wings, or even when I wasn't a waitress, mostly when I wasn't, whenever I would do food running, just taking trays from the window and taking them to people's tables, but I would kind of maneuver the tray around, like wiggle it a little bit, so like a couple fries fall off.
See,
like,
these are pro strats.
Maybe a cheese curd or a wing.
Ooh.
Oh, if I could get a wing.
Oh, if you could shake a wing loose. God damn, that was a jackpot.
I was a fucking king.
Oh, that sounds great.
But I would wiggle it right. I would wiggle it right in front of their table.
Oh,
so that I could go, and then I could go, oh, I'll get you another wing.
And on the way back, you're wolfing down the wing.
I'm fucking eating that wing. Before I even get to the kitchen, I'm like...
So, everybody, if they're wiggling your tray before it gets to your table, they're fucking, trying to eat your food.
They're trying to fucking take a little bit.
Yeah. Which is fine. Come on. Give them a little bit of food. They're working.
Yeah.
If I could... I deliver mattresses right now, and if I could eat a wing while I worked, it would... My workload wouldn't matter at all. Yeah. Because I'd be eating a wing.
But just know, if you ever go to a Buffalo Wild Wings, be careful about pissing off some of the servers there. Because never me or anyone... So... They don't work there anymore. So, B-dubs, you can't sue anyone.
Well, don't say any names.
I'm not going to.
Okay.
But, someone once saw this person. They had a horrible table. They hated them so much.
Yeah, tables are terrible
and
sometimes.
So, they pumped a little bit of ranch in the portion cup, spit in it, stirred it around, poured some more ranch in there. Whenever the person that saw it was like, what the fuck? They just fucking shrugged and gave it to their table. So,
damn.
If you ever make jokes about people spitting in your food, it happens.
It really does. I've heard a bunch of stories about that. I never did it because, I'm a good human.
I would never do that.
No, because we're both human beings and we understand that we live with other human beings.
Yeah, the only thing that I would do is give you fat-free ranch. Just to
that's
be
a
fucking
good dig. That's a
or
good dig.
if you're being an even worse asshole and you ask for fat-free ranch, like, rudely, I'll give you fucking whole ranch.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck your diet up.
Yeah. Make him gain 5 pounds
Yeah.
for a packet of ranch. Okay, so it's been about half an hour. We're going to try to keep it down to about half an hour, so these are easily digestible videos. And I feel like we've told a bunch of work stories from multiple jobs.
We have, but we'll always have more because there has been so much that has happened
100%.
at the prison. There's crazy stuff that happens always.
But
I tell you some stories about guys putting their heads in the toilet.
Yeah.
Fucking standing straight up.
Whatever.
Head in the toilet.
What can you do?
Hands on the seat.
When you're in prison, sometimes you gotta put your head in your toilet. But these stories, I feel like we could filter feed through other episodes, pepper them about.
Yeah, if we're reminded of them, we can just bring them up.
Yeah, just good stories to have in our back pocket.
Because they're very entertaining.
They are very entertaining. Thank you, everybody, for listening to episode 2 of Brooks and Dumb. This was a lot of fun. I'm super hot in our closet right now, but I'm happy the audio is better.
You're always super hot, baby.
Well, anyway, I can't breathe, and we need to end this episode.
So, that's gonna be it.
Yep. Thanks for listening, everybody. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
It's just like you, a bottle rocket leading still. You promised in this rebellion, at least you will. Sorry to say that it's nothing special. I peel back my roads, crying with my body, I suppose. The streets fall from my window. Texan tracks, cowboy leather. Notes that repose, he has a ledger. Jump, cowboy lines it up, and this is when you climb on. But you're in the wrong town, not distressed in displeasure. On my faith, you're always down in a Texan home, like Western thrill and thriller gunned into throws. You purposed your way in Dakota snow, tore on it just in case. Crying with your body in a getaway, walk with your notions these days. Texan tracks, cowboy leather. Notes that repose, he has a ledger. Punks handle a jump, cowboy lines it up, and this is when you climb on. But you're in the wrong town, not distressed in displeasure.